Looking back, looking ahead, Chapter 20. My life remains a struggle in many ways, but things are better now. Things are so much better. Some of the improvements are just details, but details add up. In the end, details make a life. Take our apartment, for example. When we first came to America, we lived on the ground floor of a building in Glendale Heights. We were too close to the street. Our windows looked right out onto the parking lot. We could hear people fighting out there, and the noise of traffic disturbed us at all hours. Sometimes at night, the cars sounded like they were going to drive right through our walls and into our bedroom. Then we moved to Carroll Stream, which is about 10 minutes from Glendale Heights by car. We moved into an apartment on the second floor of a 3-story building, and we like it better. My mother feels a bit safer here, and for her, believe me, every little bit of safer counts. My mother is sort of blank now and can't remember much, which is hard for both of us. But she's better than she used to be. When we first came to America, I worried that they would take her to the hospital and keep her there. I thought I would lose her, and I wondered what I would do here all alone. But then she could never sleep at night. She only slept a little in the daytime. At night, she paced back and forth, talking to herself, muttering and crying. She kept me awake much of the time, and if I did manage to fall asleep, she woke me up with the curses and imprecations she uttered in the dark. Sometimes she came into my room in the middle of the night to inquire softly, "Can I sleep in here?" And I always said, "Yes, fine. You can sleep in here, but sleep, please, so I can sleep too," because I needed my rest. I couldn't afford to stay awake with her dusk to dawn, night after night. And even if she didn't come into my room, and even if she did fall asleep, she kept me awake by talking and even crying out in her sleep. In the daytime, however, she was quiet. We had no mother-daughter conversations like her saying, "Oh, you should wear this dress," or "This is a nice color for you," or "Let down your hair, it looks nice that way." Never. But if I plucked my eyebrows because I wanted to look pretty, then she spoke to me. "Stop plucking your eyebrows," she said. "Let them grow back." If I came home with something from the store like a new top, she spoke to me then too. "Why did you buy that? All day long you're shopping and buying things. Stop shopping. Don't buy anything." Mostly, however, she said nothing. And even now, when I come home from school, I usually find her just sitting quietly in her room or watching a cooking show on TV. She never asks what I am thinking or how I am feeling. She's afraid, I think, to say anything that might arouse my anxieties. I certainly am afraid to say anything that might stir up hers. But my mother is a good mother. She's quiet now because she has lost her whole family, except me, her home, her way of life, everything. For me, it's easier to adjust. I'm young, but my mother had a set and sheltered way of life for so many years, and then she lost everything. That's why she's quiet. I remember when I was little how she combed and braided my hair, how she brought me frilly dresses, how she put kohl on my eyelids to blacken them and make my eyes look beautiful. She took me places. In Afghanistan, she was a celebrated hostess. She threw parties, entertained guests lavishly, and kept a clean house. Well, she still keeps a clean house. She's a good mother, but she's different now. She's quiet. And I don't like the differences in her, but she's getting better. She sees a psychiatrist and he gives her medications that help her sleep. She had no patience when we were in Pakistan, and even less when we first came here. But she is growing more patient all the time. I think she is still in shock somehow, deep in her mind. She's resting and waiting for the dust to settle, and that's what she needs, because she was so frightened for such a long time. She's getting better. When we first came to America, she didn't trust me. She worried every time I went out. She thought I was out looking for a boyfriend. She didn't trust me with Alice either. When I came back from an outing with the Litzes, she would always interrogate me suspiciously. "Where did you go? What did you do? What did you see? Who did you see?" But she has come to trust Alice and John as well as me. Lately, she doesn't worry when I go out with them, no matter where we go or how long I stay out. My mother now has a bit of a social life of her own. She's gotten to know some other Afghan women in the neighborhood. On warm days, they all walk to the park together with their thermoses. They sit on the grass and chat and have tea. On weekends, other Afghan families drop by, or we go to their houses to visit. Sometimes we all go to the park and cook kebabs of every kind. In late March, which is Afghan New Year's, We get together to celebrate with a barbecue. On the first night of Eid festival, the holiest holiday in Islam, the Afghans have a big party in downtown Chicago. In the last couple of months, my mother has even started going to school. She's going to an English language course 3 times a week. Yes, my mother is definitely beginning to perk up a bit and come alive again. She's like a plant that is finally getting some water. I like seeing such changes in my mother. Now finally she tells me she's glad I brought her to America, and that makes me so happy. I feel that I have brought her to safety. I see her sitting quietly, breathing easily, looking calm, and I say to myself, I did do one thing right in my life. I saved my mother. I don't know what the future holds for me. With God's grace, I plan to go to college, but I don't know what I'll study yet. It depends on what talents I have and how smart I am. I have to try different things and see. I might like to work with computers, or I might like to go into business. I would certainly like to be a doctor, but you have to be pretty smart for that, and I don't know if I could do it. Maybe I could do design prostheses. A good prosthesis means so much to someone who has lost a limb. Mine gave me a new life. I would like to give someone a new life. But there are many different ways to renew somebody's life, so I have to explore. I just know I want to help people who have a disability to feel that they are still people, that they still have a life, that they should keep going. I hope to see Afghanistan again one day, when I'm done with college and have a career. I'd like to go there for a visit and see what I can do to help. They need doctors and medical stuff, of course, and so many people over there need prostheses. Maybe I could help in those areas. But if I don't do that, I at least want to talk to the parents of Afghanistan. I want to tell them to send their children to school, and that's not all. They need to get their kids excited about school, celebrate when they do well, notice them, reward them. I can testify to how hard it is to go into 9th grade if you have missed grades 2 through 8. I don't want other Afghan children to go through something like that. I want to warn Afghan parents, if you make your children go to work in a grocery store or a mechanic shop or a carpet weaving factory or something, you will get some money now, but someday your children will regret not having gone to school, and on that day they will blame you. When I first came to America, I wanted to forget my past. I wanted to take a big eraser and rub out every memory I had. I wanted to become totally American through and through as quickly as I could. But time passed and I began to think about it. I realized that it's good to remember my own customs and traditions. It's good to hold on to my own religion and faith. It's not good to forget where I have come from and who I have been. It's all part of who I really am. Now, I don't want to erase or forget or destroy any part of myself. I want to love myself and keep adding to who I am. Today, I feel that I am both Afghan and American, and today is not necessarily where it ends.